What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So today we're going to take a look and a listen to Senator Rick Scott. He's going to be talking about the debt ceiling. He's also going to be talking about Social Security and Medicare. So that's what we're going to focus on in this video. But first off, if you guys can do me a favor, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell notification, and then click all. By clicking all, you'll get notified anytime we post a video. We do daily videos here, so by clicking the bell notification and clicking all, you should be getting updated every day. Okay, and I just want to remind you guys, when it comes to the scammers and people out there in the comments that are telling you to invest in this or invest in that, make sure you do not go along with that, because they're scamming. They're trying to take money from you. And it's been a while since I've talked about this, but I have to start talking about it again because I'm seeing it much more prevalent in the comment section. So I'm just letting you guys know, if you guys see things in the comment section where they're asking you to do something, or they'll make, like the new thing that I'm seeing now is they'll say, I invested in this and I made $10,000 or something like that. And then you'll have a string of people that will reply to that and say, oh, that's great. And how do you do it? And all this stuff. And they'll kind of like lead you on to, okay, you need to go to this link here. And so that's what you need to avoid, as well as you'll see people that are they're impersonating me. They have my picture, they're saying go to their WhatsApp and all that. So make sure when you see that kind of stuff, just disregard it, because you have people out there that are just trying to take advantage of you. Okay, so let's go ahead. I want to go ahead and play this clip, and we're going to talk about it as we watch this clip. And so there are some portions of this clip that I will cut out, but there's some things that Rick Scott says that are just, I mean, it's just false. And so we're going to address some of those things. So let's go ahead and play the clip. Here we go.
Senator Rick Scott, member of Homeland Security and Armed Services Committee. Great to have you in focus. Look, I laid it out for what's at stake. Those time numbers, though, are really alarming. 10 years or less is going to go by very quickly for people who totally depend on those programs, Medicare and Social Security.
Well, first off, Harris, I don't know one Republican, including me, would ever cut Medicare or Social Security. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure there's no cuts in Medicare or Social Security. But let's remember, the Democrats, they all voted to cut $280 billion out of Medicare last September, yes, and Biden signed it. Let's remember, $280 billion they cut. And they wanted to say other people are going to do it.
Okay, so we have to stop here, because he continues on with this lie. He's been saying this for 6-7 months now. And what I want to do, and I've talked about this before, but I just want to show you the different articles that are out there that are saying that he's giving this false information, but he continues to do it. So let me show you basically what he's saying, and let me lead into it before I show you these articles. And I'm just actually going to do it on a Google search. So I'll just show you what's on. I'll do the Google search, and I'll just show you what comes up. But when it comes to Senator Scott, what he is talking about, he's talking about the Affordable Care Act that was passed. And what he's talking about is the negotiating between Medicare and the pharmaceutical companies. They're now going to be able to negotiate. So Medicare will be able to negotiate with these pharmaceutical companies to get lower prices, because right now there's no negotiation. There's a middleman that's in there, and they're determining the price. And so because of that middleman in between, you have to pay out to the middleman, because basically the way it works is that middleman is the gatekeeper. And so what the pharmaceutical company will do is, let's say they want to sell prescription medication for $100. Well, what the pharmaceutical company will do is they'll say, well, we're going to sell it for $150 to Medicare. And then that $50 we're going to give to the middleman. And so the middleman will promote this prescription medication because they're getting a cut. And so that's what's going on. So the Medicare is paying $150 for a prescription medication that only costs $100. And so that's where you're getting these inflated prices. And the bottom line is, we're paying for it, because you pay your premiums, you're paying for it in your premiums, and then also you're paying into it when you pay the payroll tax. Okay, so the part of your payroll tax is going to Medicare, and so that's what we're looking at when it comes to this talk. Now, how they're saving money and how he gets to this $280 billion is because that's the savings. The $280 billion would be saved So they Medicare will no longer need the additional $280 billion, which will mean that you can prolong the time span for Medicare, because if you have that small percentage, I can't remember, I think it's 2.7 or 2.3% that goes from your paycheck that goes to Medicare. If you have more money, then you can stretch out Medicare longer. And so that's where the $280 billion is coming from. The $280 billion is coming from savings. They're actually saving this money. And so if you really want to save money, which he's talking about, we need to get rid of the wasteful spending, get rid of the middlemen that are playing a role in this whole pharmaceutical Medicare negotiation, get rid of the middleman, and you're going to save money for everyone. And so he's not talking about that. He's talking about this $280 billion, like, well, Medicare is not going to get the $280 billion now because they don't need it, because they can negotiate the prices down. And so that's basically what it comes down to. But the sad part about it is he's playing it like it's a bad thing, when in actuality it's a good thing for everyone. And it's exactly what he's talking about doing, cutting wasteful spending. We're spending money, giving money to middlemen who have the only role that they're playing is they're the go-between. So they get a cut, and then we have to pay them a cut when we can just deal directly with the pharmaceutical companies. So let me just show you here. And I just did this search, and you can see it here. At the top here, it says, did Democrats cut $280 billion from Medicare? And this is what comes up. And you can do this search yourself. Type in the same stuff, and you're going to come up with the same results here. And so the first one here, no. Senate passed reconciliation bill, won't strip $300 billion. This one right here, no. Senate bill won't strip $300 billion from Medicare. PolitiFact. And PolitiFact, what they do is they look at all the what politicians say, and they will fact check everything, and they'll show you the proof. Rick Scott repeats false claim that Democrats cut $280 billion. And that's coming from PolitiFact as well. Tallahassee. This is Tallahassee.com in Florida. Scott repeats claim Dems cut $280 billion from Medicare. PolitiFact again. Rick Scott repeats false claim that Democrats cut. Now, what I want you to look at too, and this is important, look at the dates here. November 3rd, 2022, October 31st, 2022, August 11th, 2022. This was months ago, and he's still continuing to say the same lie. And that's what's sad. That's what's really sad about it. He's been called on it. He didn't get called on it this time. He should have. I mean, if the interviewer did any research, she would know that that's just not true. But she actually went along with it and said, yeah. So I just want to show you guys this, because this is why people don't like politicians, and this is why we don't get anything done, because politicians aren't going to come forward and tell you the truth. You know what? Hey, that was actually a good thing. $280 billion saved. That's a positive. That's money that we can put aside for more benefits for Medicare and more benefits for Social Security. But he doesn't tell you that. He says, no, they cut it. Okay, so let's go back to listen to what he has to say. Here we go.
Here's what we have to do. We have to, one, grow our economy. But here's what's going on right now. The left, the big government crowd, Wall Street are saying you have to spend more money, borrow more money, and they're the ones that are telling us this. And they say, if you don't, all the world's going to fall apart. We'll have plagues that Moses would even flinch at. That's a complete lie. We have the ability right now to pay the interest on the debt, Medicare, Social Security, our military. What we have to do is get rid of all the waste. There's so much waste. So when you go to the grocery store and you see that eggs are up and meat's up, then you can thank the people. Yeah, you can thank the people, the bureaucrats in D.C. that make a fortune, Wall Street that makes a fortune, the rich, which keep getting richer. You can say, thank you for raising the cost of everything, raising my mortgage payment, raising my debt, my interest expense on my credit card, because that's exactly what's happening. We can balance the budget. I did it as governor. I did for 8 years. I walked in with a $4 billion budget deficit. They said the same thing. Oh, if you balance the budget, the economy's going to fall apart. No, guess what happened? We added 1.7 million jobs in my 8 years. We had record funding for all the programs that people care about. But guess what I did? I got rid of the waste, I balanced the budget, and I paid off a third of the state debt. We can do the same thing here, but we got to start doing it.
Okay, so when he talks about balancing the budget, it's true. he balanced the budget in Florida. And you know why? Because every state has to balance their budget every year. They can't deficit spend. So he's telling you something. He's, oh, yeah, I balanced the budget. I did it. Every governor in every state has to balance the budget every year. That's just the way things work. Okay. When it comes to the federal government, it's a little different. The system's a little different. You can deficit spend. But when it comes to state governments, they have to balance a budget. And that's why we saw in a lot of the states, they were giving out these refund checks and things like that. The reason why they were doing that is because they had additional money left over, because they balanced the budget, and especially due to the pandemic, they had money left over so they could put out these relief checks and these gas rebates and all these different things. Not every state did it, but I'm just telling you, they had money left over because they balanced their budget, which they have to do. They have to balance their budget. So by him saying this, yes, congratulations, you balance the budget in the state government, but that is a requirement. You have to do that. He doesn't tell you have to do it. So this video went a little bit long, so I think I am going to cut it, and then we'll have two different videos. I'll play them both today so you'll see them. But when it comes down to it, Rick Scott still saying the same thing, right, about the $280 billion cut. And it's sad that he's being dishonest to the American people. And I mean, what do we do? Like, how do you move forward when you have someone that is just not going to be honest with you? And so we're going to have to see what happens in the future. The good thing is you do have some Republicans that are openly saying that they don't want to cut Social Security and Medicare. That's good. But you still do have some Republicans that are keeping it on the table. So we'll just have to see what they do in the future. Democrats, you don't have any Democrats that are saying they want to make cuts to Social Security or Medicare. And so that's a good thing. Now, when it comes to legislation moving forward, I don't really anticipate seeing major legislation moving forward. I don't anticipate seeing that, just because of the way things are going and the makeup. We have Republicans running the House, we have Democrats running the Senate, and the White House is run by a Democrat. So I don't really see anything moving forward unless it's a bipartisan bill, which right now, in the House, at least, the Republicans, the far right of the Republicans they're running the House right now. They're controlling the House. Even though you have Speaker McCarthy, who will say he's more in the middle, he still has to deal with the fringe. He still has to deal with the fringe right, and they're basically controlling things. And that's how he became Speaker, because he had to listen to their demands. And so we'll have to see what happens moving forward. I just wanted to put this video out, and I will post a second portion of this video later on today. If you guys like this video, first off, I want to know what you guys think. So let me know down below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please share this video with other people. Subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.